So today's question we got, if you got drafted to the league, or if you won the lottery, what would you do and not do with your money?
Great questions right there. I think for conversation's sake, let's go with the drafted side. Lottery we could do, but maybe that's another video another day.
Okay.
So let's just say Frankie Football was a running back, going first round. He's about to get drafted, went to the combine, he's healthy. Let's just say Frankie, grew up not really in poverty, but like not rich by any stretch, and has a big family. Because I think that's mostly like the most common thing. Where do we start? Let me think. First off, okay, Frankie Football. Let's say he's gonna get drafted. And he's gonna get a $50 million contract, including the signing bonus. There's a few different things that he should do, shouldn't do. And the first, and I think the most important thing that in any situation you need to understand is taxes. Right off the bat, that $50 million is $25 million. And I think that's something that is not talked about enough, but it literally wrecks everybody's financial plan before it even gets started. Because let's look at it this way. On the news, on ESPN, in the barbershop, you hear $50 million. Oh, Frankie get $50 million. So even Frankie is thinking like, oh, I got $50 million. You do not have $50 million. You just don't. On paper, you did until the IRS heard about it.
Facts.
So certain states like Texas and Florida, there's no income tax, which is dope. But we're in New York. So I would say it depends on where Frankie gets drafted. But let's just say he gets drafted and he doesn't understand the way taxes work. Most of the time, oh, I got $50 million, okay, I'm gonna get the jury, I'm gonna get the house, I might get my mom's house, my dad's house, right? We didn't even get in the car. Let's say, okay, you got the Cullinan, you got, okay, let's say you thought you had $50 million, you might spend $2 or $3 million on cars if that's what you like, right? If that's your thing. The most important thing that he needs to understand is it's not 50, it's 25. Then before anything, I would say you need a financial team.
So what's some professionals that a person that gets drafted should surround themselves with to make sure that they're good going forward?
Great question. This might be a hot take, but like I would say the first person is professional security. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
You get a professional security guard or a security team, that way it separates you from the general public, right? The second thing, second, third, fourth, we can go in any order at this point. Financial advisor, attorney, right? That specifically is for your situation, not just a regular attorney. I would say like sports attorney, or even maybe like entertainment attorney, because if you think about it, the NFL is entertainment.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? So you got your financial advisor, you got your attorney, you want your tax professional. I would say an accountant, but a tax professional can be an accountant, but also is somebody who will work with the attorney and the financial advisor to make sure your dollars are not going straight to the IRS. If you don't, let's just say you had the financial advisor, but not the tax strategist, excuse me, or you don't have the attorney, it's never going to be the full-fledged thing. You know what I mean? It's all, you lack or something. And then, other than like your agent or your manager, which I would suggest you get, but the thing about that is I would go to somebody closest to me. Like if my mom or my dad could be a manager, or if they have any kind of experience, I would rather give them the money.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
Right? But
Family.
exactly. So like you got your security guard, your attorney, your financial advisor, and your tax strategist. Really, that's kind of all you need. Maybe there's a couple others that we could talk about. But like, here's the other thing that I think makes the most sense and we don't talk about enough. let's say this is Frankie, right? Frankie's getting the money. Frankie needs to set up a business that will get that money. Because if Frankie gets the money, now everything's liable to him.
Yes.
If he set up a business, it's all right. Now Frankie Incorporated just received $50 million, and what he could do, and this is, let me put a little disclaimer that I probably should already did. This is just fictitious storytelling. I'm not giving any advice, right? I'm not telling you to do this, to do that, to not. It's all storytelling. But what he could do is set up a business so that he's not getting the money, the business is getting it. He's in control of the business,
Yeah.
which really means he's in control of the money, but now businesses will be taxed different than individuals. Sometimes people, especially athletes or entertainers, they open up foundations. If, let's just say his signing bonus went to his foundation, now you don't gotta pay any tax. And if you do, it's minimal. Like I said, this is just my opinion, I'm not saying it's spot on, but what Frankie could do is say, the Frankie Foundation is, you have to have a mission statement, so it could be, helping inner city youth, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
You get the money, sit there. You can take money from it, but if the money's sitting there, it's free, it's basically sheltered from taxes. So a tax strategist can tell you that. But I think what's more important is understanding that the people around him are now his employees. Most individuals don't have employees. Businesses have employees. So every year, now you can say, well, I paid my, tax strategist this amount, I paid my attorney this amount, I paid my manager, it's all on paper where the money went.
Yeah.
So when you do have to file taxes, you can show I'm a good steward of the money. That makes sense?
And can you write off, what can you write off with like starting a business in a situation?
That's a deep question, but think of anything that will help the business survive and grow. So depending on what you want to do, like for Frankie, he just wants to play football, he wants to train, but like the people around him, his team, they need to have a system where, okay, if he's paying a chef to be basically in tip-top condition for the season, what you paid that chef can be wrote off. Because without that chef, maybe he's out of shape, maybe,
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Same with like, if you have, and I'm saying like your personal people, not you go to the facility and then they have all that.
Yeah.
But like if it's coming out of his pocket, you should be writing it off if it's going to help your business. And the easiest way to know that is, if I don't do this, do I still stay in the same position I'm in, like as far as like I'm good? Because if you don't eat right, you probably won't be good, right? If you don't have an attorney and somebody tries to sue you, like let's say he goes to the club, meets a young lady, maybe things don't go the way the young lady wants, but now all of a sudden she's making up some type of story to make him look bad. You need an attorney for that.
For sure.
Right? So by the end of the year, whatever money you gave that attorney to keep your name good, that was a necessary business expense, right?
Facts.
Right?
That makes sense.
So that was a good question, but let me hear some more questions, because we're
So-
getting into it, but we can get a lot further.
So basically, when people get in these situations where they get a good amount of money, money that makes them wealthy, almost in the snap of a finger.
Right.
A lot of times, people see that people don't retain this money because of either poor spending habits or not necessarily knowing what to do with the money. I watched a video there was an interview with Marshawn Lynch on Club Shay Shay. He was talking about he didn't know about banks, he didn't know where to put the money, he was just buying stuff, and he got connected with the right people that helped him diversify his money and made sure that he wasn't broke. So like when people are in these situations, what are some things that they may fall victim to, or what percentage, or if you had to kind of just come up with an estimate of like these people that get the wealth, what percentage of them don't retain the money? Like,
I think we could probably use AI or Google to see that percentage, but I would say it's a lot. I can't give you a number, but I would say more than half. Fun fact for anybody that's watching. If you ever want to know about the dark side of being a professional athlete and how you may not stay rich, go to YouTube and type in ESPN Broke. To me, it's like the best documentary ever because it's a real documentary with real players who went broke. Some of them are success stories where took some money, now you own car dealerships and stuff like that. Like Shaq is a prime example of what to do after sports. Dude is just, he's a business in himself.
Yeah, I actually just seen him on a commercial for Home Depot, so I'm like, what is Shaq doing with Home Depot?
Literally. Endorsements on top of endorsements.
So basically, this says 78% of former NFL players face financial difficulties or go broke within 2 to 3 years of retirement.
So let's wrap this back up to Frankie football. So first off, this is why I started with taxes, because if Frankie thinks I got 50 million and spends 40, when the IRS looks at it like, well, you got 50 million, but we supposed to get 25. Now, guess what? Frankie's in the whole 15 million. Just it happens just like that. Boom.
Wow.
And guess what? I feel like the league is now educating their players, right? But also, like, I know Marshawn Lynch talks about being connected with the right people and having a financial advisor who helped him stay afloat and really just never go broke. But I would say, to answer your question as far as like what they can do, it always depends on the person, their background, and what they want. But let's just say Frankie's a frugal guy. He's like, I grew up with not a lot, so I don't need a lot. First thing is, let your immediate circle know you don't have a lot. You might have heard 50 million on the news. Let mom, dad, cousins, whoever is actually close to you, because if they're not in your immediate circle, I would just say you have to love them from a distance. The long lost cousins and all that gonna come out of nowhere. But you gotta keep your distance from them, because really, as ugly as it may sound, they're coming for a reason. So, if we go back to the story that we're telling with Frankie, let's just say Frankie looks at it like, well, listen, I'm gonna pay my taxes. I got 25 million. I'm gonna ball out. Everybody knows, like, you're gonna ball out. Like, you're gonna buy some stuff you wanted to buy, especially if you grew up without a lot. We don't really know, right, what amount that's gonna be. But what I would say is, get with the financial advisor before you make the crazy purchases. Before you get that Bugatti, the G-Wagon, the jewelry, whatever. Get with them first and have them do like a full assessment of just financial fitness.
Yeah, gotcha.
Because before you get the money, the financial advisor might go, well, okay, in the bank you got $40. Like, you got nothing really. You don't own a home, you know what I mean? Like, he can give you a real assessment of where you are now to help you get to where you want to go.
So, I mean, when you think about the 50-30-20 rule for people that's making millions a year, that 50-30-20 rule might not be 50-30-20 anymore.
Yeah,
It might change up a lot to, because 50% of a couple million is a lot. Your monthly expenses is not a couple million.
Yeah. I would say the 50-30-20 rule is actually good for anybody, but when you get in a bigger scale, that would almost be like, all right, we're gonna spend $1 million a month or whatever it is. It's like, nah, you know not. And where I was going with that was, if he's frugal and goes, I know win, lose, or draw, I only need $1 million or less in a year. I can live off that, and I can live very comfortably, right? Let's say, all right, you got 25 million, you took one. This is my money for the year. Because what a lot of people don't know is, in the NFL, you're gonna get paid either in a lump sum, in installments for the season, so really you only get paid 6 months. Or, I might be wrong, but I'm thinking you can go spread it out over 12 months, whatever, right? But like, you gotta understand, imagine you take the lump sum, now you're not getting any more money. You gotta do what you gotta do with that money. What I would say is, at least 20% needs to go toward investments. Strong, safe investments, not highly volatile. Because when it comes to investments, anybody who, let's say you don't know anything about investments, the only thing you really have to understand is risk versus reward. You don't want to take on a ton of risk and not be able to make a great reward. So I could pull it up now, but let's just say you took 10 million and put it in an annuity. Just as an example. The best way to do it is, all right, I'm going to set up this annuity to put my 10 million inside, and now I can either say at a certain date in my life, I'm gonna start to get checks, or I can do it immediately. Where now the 10 million sits in the annuity, and if you have it pay out immediately, and it's a lifetime payment, that 10 million may be spent, but you still are collecting checks based on what you put in. So even if you put in 10 million and get, 40,000 a month for life, well, what if he lives to 100? Like that 10 million been ran his course. But that's not even all of his wealth. And if he's living frugally, he knows, all right, well, I already put 10 million up and turned it into $40,000 a month. I can live off of that. Maybe it helps him stay locked in to then be a veteran down the line, have that nice long career, and you get even more, big contracts. Because if you think about it, let's go back to, all right, he's about to get drafted, he gets his money. We don't know if he's gonna be in the league in 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
So I hope that kind of answers the question.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a good way to look at it because you can kind of position, since it's so much, you can do a lot with it. Make sure that you, never run out of income.
Yeah.
And that you got money that's growing, compounding, but you also got money that you can use for expenses or, if you want to
Exactly.
treat yourself, treat your family, stuff like that. That's a good way to go about it. Another question I would say, what's the difference between looking rich and being rich?
That's a great question. So I think it kind of depends on who we're talking about. Because we all know the person that's acting rich or looking rich got the Gucci belt and blah, 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 blah. He's loud. But sometimes the quiet outfit is a bag. Like
Yeah.
sometimes,
Seriously.
like
Seriously.
if you know, you know. But one thing I would say is like when you're looking rich, to me, for me, it's a dead giveaway that like you is no way you're rich. And even if you are, you're not gonna stay rich. Every wealthy person I know, it's almost like they want to keep it a secret. They don't want people to know that. Like, and I'm talking real wealth.
Yeah.
The people who I see with the chains, with the Amiri, and there's no disrespect to those people because like, I like fly stuff too. But like most of the time, the people who are really up, like the person who does own this building or the yacht or whatever, their car, it's not flashy. They don't wear jewelry. The shoes is beat up because in their mind it's like I need everybody to think I don't have this money. But the people who didn't grow up with money, now it's the opposite. I want everybody to know I'm up. And it's like, that's why it's kind of hard to answer it. Because it depends on who you are and the way you grew up. If you grew up with money, it's like that getting some more is like, all right, that's cool. You know what I mean? It's almost like, all right, you got tissue in your house, you can buy some more tissue. Cool, I got tissue. It's not that big of a deal, right? But if it's, bro, I'm on my knuckles, and now you got the $50 million check, the first thing some people want to do is make it known, like, I got all this money.
And most times that comes with depreciating assets. That's not going to make you more money. Like I was reading this article, it was talking about why wealthy people aren't like super flashy. And one of the reasons was because instead of buying something that costs a lot of money, they're looking for ways to use that money to make more money. So they're investing or they're just putting it in vehicles that's going to make them appreciate what they put in and ultimately just get more wealthy. Like,
Yeah, what I've been telling people for a while is like wealth, I actually stole this from Pharrell. Wealth is a product of the mind, not the pocket. So if you hear generational wealth or anything when it comes to wealth, to me it's how you think. It really isn't about money. It's about how is your mind wired. Wealthy people know that money is a tool and they can use it to get more. If you're not wealthy, you might look at money as, all right, it's something to spend.
Yeah.
So
right now.
Right, it's right now. And especially, growing up the way we grew up, a lot of times living in desperation and living with your back against the wall, you can't think further than like 2 months,
Yeah.
maybe a year.
Yeah.
You can't even, that's not something that you were raised to do. That's why I say it depends on who I'm talking to and how they were raised. But most wealthy people, they only think in 5 to 10 year intervals. So like, for this example, like, all right, well, if I knew I can buy an apartment complex for $1 billion and I'm gonna own it for the rest of my life, and it's gonna generate me $10,000 a month. Or I can take that $1 million and I can go get a Bugatti.
Facts.
Still $1 billion.
Yeah.
Which one is gonna pay me though? So we all know it's not the car.
And then people in that, you know, if they're in a car that they don't really like, it's like, do you want to go buy a new car just so you can, you know, temporarily be in something that's a little bit better, or you want to have something that's going to make you more money for a lifetime?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Let me go in a little bit on that. You remember how when we were young, like you had MTV Cribs? I remember the Cash Money episode and Baby, Lil Wayne, everybody was just, you know, stunting. They were like cars here, cars there. If you think about it, bro, that was like in the year 2000. All of those Benzes, and they had stretch PT Cruisers and all that. Like, it's 2025. None of those vehicles that was in that episode are worth anything right now. At the time, it was like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
They got this and this. So you got, you know, you got a dealership worth of cars, but new cars come out every year. So when you look at a car that was, you know, it in the year 2000, you looking at it now, you looking at it like, it don't even matter what it was, a Benz, Ferrari, it doesn't matter. Unless it was like kept in pristine condition, you really didn't even drive it, you're gonna look at that car like, this is, I don't even want that. So it's so crazy that you say, you know, when it comes to the cars, because it's like, after a while, cars are just gonna be obsolete, and it's because it's gonna be the newer one of that car. So buying that is almost like you better off leasing it. I read something like wealthy people just lease the car, because now, yeah, exactly. It's like I never wanted to flex with the car anyway.
And you got in debt.
And on top of that, I'm gonna get a new one every 3 years. So it's like that's what I mean by wealth is really your mindset. Like, how are you looking at things?
Yeah, that really ties into discipline, because people think discipline is only in one category, but discipline is really in, discipline is in fitness, discipline is in how you eat, your nutrition, discipline is how you spend money, like
How you spend your time?
yeah, seriously.
Oh my God.
Being frugal with your life in general, just your whole lifestyle. You have to be disciplined with your whole lifestyle in
Yeah.
order to get to where you want to be. Because, you know, like we talked about before, money is cool, but you know, your health, your time, those are, you know, what's most important. Because if you're not putting things away to, you know, benefit you in the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, then it's like, once you, the time's gonna pass anyway. So once you get to that point, you're gonna be looking back like, dang, I should have just put my money into this, and I would have had this amount of money saved up, or I should have never bought that car because now, you know, I'm in debt, versus holding on to old reliable and putting that money towards something else that was gonna help me grow financially in the long run.
Bro, what you just said was so profound, because if you think about it, let's go back to the example with Frankie football. If he's disciplined and like I'm talking across, you know, everything, he's more likely to not go broke, that's first. To also keep his mind on prosperity and growth, so that after that rookie deal, now he's, you know, all pro. He can focus on really locking in.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? Like I told you, I'm a Raiders fan, so like I've been a Raiders fan for so long that I remember Jamarcus Russell. If you don't know who Jamarcus Russell is, he was a dog in college. So the Raiders were so bad, we got the first pick. And this dude, not to put his name out there, but it's like, this is just an example. Gets the big deal, starting quarterback, not locked in. He don't even know the playbook. You the quarterback and you don't know the playbook. Needless to say, never got that second, third contract. Nobody knows what he did with the first contract, but it's like now he might be working at Walmart. We don't know, because this was like 07. But the point I'm making is it's so common to be the man, get drafted, not understand how important it is to be disciplined, and everything just is squandered.
Yep. I seen Kobe said like the reason why he was able to be so successful is because he already like kind of knew where he was going to go in terms of getting to the league, but so many people just focus on getting to the league, and once they get to the league, they like, shoot, I'm in the league.
I'm good.
I get to relax. I get to chill.
Yeah.
Kobe was the opposite. He was like, I'm in the league, so I'm gonna go harder. I'm gonna outwork everybody that's taking their foot off the gas, and that's why he was able to be great.
Yep. Prime examples right there. That's a good example, bad example kind of thing. But yeah, like I would say, if you're about to get drafted, understand taxes.
Yeah.
Get the right team around you and distance yourself from the people who really wasn't in your corner anyway before you got a bag. And then another thing I would say is just understanding that there are ways to take your money and put it somewhere where it can grow that will literally help you not spend it. Like if you knew, okay, I could live off $1 million a year or whatever, you won't think, all right, I gotta buy my aunt a house, my dad a house, my mama. Some people just do that because they're like, I got 50 million. Not realizing you really don't, but it just seems like a good idea because you want to get back. You got the, survivor's remorse or success remorse, whatever you call it. I forget the term, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, you out of money. The phone ain't ringing. You're a free agent, and now you kind of just hoping somebody call you. And who wants to live like that?
Yeah. And I mean, if you start early, you know, time is an asset. So
Yeah.
you know, if you want to buy your family them houses, be like, hey, give me a couple years. I got you. The money's growing right now.
Yeah.
So,
Or depending on the state, like let's say he went to like Florida or one of those, like Texas. Man, you might as well put your money into building a family compound and just, all right, everybody come live with me. You got some chores to do. You got to clean it up. You got to do this or whatever. Or yeah, get land. I know a couple of NFL players became farmers because it's like that's what they wanted to do, but they got a ton of land. They'll never run out of food.
Yeah.
And they got work forever because farmers are really kind of like the backbone to the grocery store. But yeah, like, so it always is kind of like customizable situations, but like, I feel like if I were about to get drafted, the first thing I want to do is get the right team. If I get the right team, I focus on what got me to the league, and then I always got somebody to bounce ideas off of and kind of keep me accountable.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's a good way to finish up. We got some gems, so understanding taxes, getting the right team, staying disciplined, and being frugal, being very, very frugal, and knowing where you're trying to go.
Yeah. One thing I want to add, which is still like a little hypothetical, stay away from the wrong women.
Yeah, no, that's a fact.
Like that, I think,
That's a fact.
bro, any athlete or entertainer, everything could get derailed from the wrong woman. If you got the right woman, like let's say, you know, you was with somebody since high school or college and you really know she locked in, keep her. You might as well keep her, because if she was with you when you were broke, why leave her? But what happens is, or maybe they don't have, you know, significant other, they get rich.
Yeah.
Now everybody on you. Your DMs is flooded. That's all it takes to derail the whole plan, right?
They can take you out, you know, be like, yo, am I gonna go chill with this girl, or I'm gonna go get a lift in?
Well, yeah, and that's what I mean. If you got the right girl, someone's like, she gonna go get that lift in. When you come back, it's gonna be some food on the table. And then to me, I feel like as men, we need to understand that. Like, we need to understand if you got a good woman, she's literally gonna keep you locked in. Because you want to do right for her, don't want to fail, but also it keeps your head away from everybody else. Because everybody else gonna be there. She's the other girls, the bottom girls, the whatever. They definitely gonna shoot their shot.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Because they're thinking like, oh, he green, like I can get him.
Everybody want a bag.
Exactly. But like, I feel like we can't end this without at least touching on that. Because if you don't know, and then you know, oh, I'm in the club, next thing you know, you bring her to your house, she know where you live, and it's just, everything could go left. You know
Child
that.
support as well.
Exactly. There's so much that could go wrong, and I'm not gonna say it will go wrong, but it's like you gotta be mindful of that.
Yeah.
So if anything, get another chick who either has been, not don't get another chick, but like stay with the chick that's been locked in with you, or get a chick that's trying to build too.
Yeah.
If you get somebody who's just always taking, it's like, all right, now you out of gas quicker. But if it's somebody who like, no, I got my own thing going on. I want to be with you, but I'm running my lash business or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I would say she's more valuable than the chick who got no motion. Like,
Facts.
there's no way you can help me because I gotta help you unlimited.
Mhm.
So that's just a thought.
I agree. I think that's a very, very good point to touch on because the days we live in today, the dating scene is crazy. It's crazy because people got their own intentions.
Right.
Most times the intentions is not genuine. It's not authentic. So being able to see that from a mile away, you just gotta kind of just feel people's energy, but also learn about the nature of people in order to be able to see stuff like that. So that's very important. So to add on to that, reading some self-development books,
Mm-hmm.
very important, especially when it comes to dating, because you know what you're looking for. So, but I say that's a lot of good information for anybody that's potentially planning to go to the league or get a lump sum of money. These are some ways that you can, some strategies that you can implement, and just things to keep in mind at all times. So,
You know what, bro? We got a next episode. We're gonna a lot everywhere because it's a lot. It's a lot
Yeah.
different, but it is similar. But it's like
yeah,
I feel like more people could relate to that too. But if you're watching, you got some type of value out of this, and you feel like this was something that was worth watching. Share it with the people that you care about. Like subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. But like none of this makes sense if you don't share it. So share it to people who you think need to see it. I would say that for sure.
because everybody needs to know information. You don't know what you don't know. So,
For sure.
yep. Do.
That's the lottery episode. The lottery episode have that as a theme song.
Let's see. Okay, finish. All right.
Okay, let's get it. I just realized.
Okay,
people
32
comment and
minutes.
say anything we didn't even know.
Yeah, nah, that's a fact.
It's all good though.
How do I end this? I don't know. Okay. All right. I'm confused.